Welcome, Speed Gaming fans, to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Winter Tournament 2025, the Great Chaos Caper. My name is Sabian Hawk. With me in the booth today is Felson with our tracker Wildham. We are joining Race 2 of the best 2 out of 3 in the brackets of 60, around of 64 brackets between meklin89 and Siberian Bull. Felson, would you like to cover our parties and blursings?
Certainly. So, for tonight's race, we've got first double fighter, a bit unfortunate since the second one will almost always end up being redundant and irrelevant. In terms of blessings, these fighters have Hurt Undead, thieves have clean magic, we find one, might potentially include a life, which would be useful. Black Belt doesn't exist in this seed, but is plus 20 strength. Rain Mage has Doom Magic, so some Insecures. White Mage improved MP, a huge deal. That's plus 1 MP on all levels every 2 levels of the character. And Black Mage is plus 25 agility for slightly less chances of dying to melee attacks.
Well, the fun thing will be they've started, looks like we've got a split choice, the Black Mage versus the Red Mage. These runners each get those forced fighters. They have a nun that they can recruit into and a selection of whichever mage. We will see the recruiting options in the clinics in each of the cities. They can only recruit one character and only in that blank spot if they choose to. So expect checks and expect choices. You see the difference. Would you go with picking up the white mage? We see Meklin has WM question mark in the name.
Personally, I prefer to wait until I know for sure that the white mage will be a crucial part of my team before I commit to one in these flags, because with the way the shard boxes are set up, you end up needing a lot of its magic to go through all these fights efficiently. So I usually prefer having some black magic in my starting party.
Yeah, well, we saw a white mage, or a black mage, I should say, in the clinic, and Meklin just reset out, went with the white mages. We're going to get fighter, black-white from the start. We also saw Siberian Bull check our magic, and Meklin's going to be happy to find Fast at level 1, and Cure 4 at level 1, so that's access to buffing your swings for your fighters, and a full recovery plus elimination of status effects with that Cure 4. That's some solid starting magic.
Oh yeah, and that Cure 4 is in a slot that will never be learnable to a red mage, so that's definitely some good value from the white mage.
Yep.
Again, a bit lacking in the early game offense, but that's true what the black mage is for. Usually one caster is enough for the early game.
Siberian Bull, our first runner up into tow, finding an X chest. All of the incentive items will be in marked X boxes in our incentive dungeons and locations. Otherwise, the X chest will be shards. This is a shard hunt. We need 24 shards to get into Topher. We will still need the key and the loot. That is, if they don't find a thief, or at least Siberian Bull doesn't find a thief to get it to level 20 for lockpicking. But they also would get 2 shards for each. The Fiends of Earth and Fire and the Fiends of Sea and Air will be worth 4 shards. So it's still not a bad thing to take those Fiend fights to get guaranteed shards and gaining experience and gold boosts. So, a lot to consider as we get Garland from Siberian Bull.
I see that Siberian Bull bothered to buy some souls, which does end up saving their life, since otherwise that red mage, by missing that insect spell, would have run out of options for taking Garland down.
Yeah. Meklin, meanwhile, in that top, gets the shard but loses one of the fighters. Now this could be a route Meklin could choose to take, going with the downed front fighter and only having the 3-man fighter red-white, or fighter black-white. So it is an option, but there's our chime and our ship from the king and the princess. The chime lock will be irrelevant. We randomized it with these flags, so if they didn't get the chime early, they might just bonk off of Toph or any other location. The ship, meanwhile, gets immediate access to the inner sea, so that's going to be fast access to Elfland, Provoca, Dwarves, what have you. Meklin evidently having a hard time dealing with Garland, not having access to a kill spell that can insta-kill, is just resetting out and trying to get that rub shot.
I seem to recall that. Actually, let me check on the notes from our tracker. Yeah, there was Quake in level 1 Black Magic, so that's something that could have been on Black Mage to make the Garland case slightly more reliable.
Yeah. Siberian Bull's checking the clinic and Provoca finds another fighter. I don't think Siberian wants to go fighter, Red Mage, so never going to see that. We see Saber, Lit 3, and Brack. That's not bad magic. You've got a Lit 3, which is a fully effective sweeper against the Pirates coming up.
And that Saber is pretty good news for a party with fighters, because one oddity of this flag set is that we've turned on the White Ninja and Black Knight, so instead of having the usual magic on promotions, the Knight and Ninja will have magic of the opposite class.
Yep.
And that level 2 slot sure is available to them, so if you end up going to Tofel without the power bank, that's a pretty good substitute for, sure, just 4 charges of it. But 4 charges goes a long way against Chaos.
Yep, and Siberian Bull gets the TNT from the fight with Bicky, checks the shop and finds the ruby for sale. So that is our shop item. That ruby gates access to Titan's Trove, which we do have incentivized, as well as Sarda. So 2 key item checks are there. We see Cheese for Meklin. Some fun item names. 8368, so not that expensive to get that item. Also see a quick check of Matoya's Cave by Siberian Bull, hoping to find a few things. Finds a Saber +4. Our weapons and armor are rolled up 3 to 5, so 4 is the average buff on all the gear. And with that Red Mage being able to swing a Saber, Siberian doesn't have to worry about casts as long as he's got the ability to swing a few times. Which could matter when you see a pack of 9 enemies that get first strike. Meklin, meanwhile, out of Provoca and heading straight to Dwarves, wants to check out what the TNT is, it looks like. Makes somewhat sense. I mean, you chase down the incentive items you've got. You could go to Elfland at this point and see what's there for magic and items, but Elfland is expensive. Not having enough gold to make it worth it. Gonna go with the item that they've got. Hopefully it's gonna be the TNT into the Vanilla Canoe, or Vanilla Canal, I should say. Get immediate access to the Outer Ocean, but we shall see.
Our tracker while time pointing out what was on the script for those sharks. It's worth pointing out that this seed was rolled by Danny.
Yes, Meklin. Good man, freeing the Hooray Dwarf from his one-word hell. For those not aware of our community standards, the Hooray Dwarf, that is a Vanilla Canal. That is kind of crazy. That is access to Sarda, that is access to Titans. But yes, the Hooray Dwarf, that dwarf you see immediately to the left of the entry into Dwarf Cave. If you talk to them in the vanilla game, all the Hooray Dwarf will say is, "Hooray! We have created," our glorious randomizer developers have created a function called the NPC Guillotine, which allows the removal of NPCs such as annoying bats that would otherwise block your way from in front of you. And there's a special care given to the Hooray Dwarf where we can either free them or let them be. It's an option. I personally go with free the Hooray Dwarf.
But how will we get your motivation to get to some tough trophies if you don't have your most devoted fan short walk away from the dungeon?
You know, I understand that, but the Hooray Dwarf is the Hodor of FFR in my opinion. It's just stuck there in this weird temporal nebulous loop that this entire world is existing in, aware that eventually you will break it free of the loop, so you might as well free it now rather than later.
That's certainly a good, interesting interpretation of the lore. But
Yeah.
anyway, I see that Meklin had two options there: either grind for the ruby to get the 2 checks that are locked behind it, or go straight to the stages. This is a bit of a longer route, but we have no way to know that the ruby would pay off, so I think that's the correct choice here. 8,000 gold is not that trivial to get from most places on the city.
Yeah, honestly, Meklin going to Crescent first, getting that rod, turning out to probably be the right move, because this will allow Meklin, once they get the ruby, to single shot the entirety of the Melman continent. We do have an incentive item placed in all of the Fiend dungeons. In this case, the Earth Fiend dungeon is post-Rod Lock in the Earth Armory floor. So Meklin will now have access to all 3 incentive checks on the Melman continent once they get that ruby. And even without the ruby, they have access to Earth. Siberian, meanwhile, heading back to Provoca, has the gold, is going to go pick up that ruby. Or, wow, Siberian has either had to reset or hasn't been to the Pirates. Have I lost track of this?
Well, according to the tracker, the TNT was never picked up, so I guess this is Siberian Bull's first time fighting BK.
Wow. Well, that puts Meklin a little ahead on the navigation and exploration, that is for sure. And Meklin not going to go get the rubies, just going to go ahead and say, I have the rod, I am here. Meanwhile, Siberian getting that ruby and the TNT. Will this make a difference? We are going to see Meklin take a look at the trap tiles here in the Hall of Giants. Finds a bunch of gray wolves, or werewolves, I should say. Gerwolves. And then some very, very evil magic people that have touch effects that he doesn't want to have anything to do with.
We've got an update from our tracker that Siberian Bull had not saved after the BK fight and ended up wiping, so that's what happened.
The sharks. Got it.
Yeah, saving is extremely important in the early game when you are quite pretty sizable risk of dying from almost any encounter.
Yes, speaking of dying from any encounter, as per normal with the randomizer, we have randomized scripts for all of our normal enemies, but out of the ordinary, we have vanilla touch effects. So if an enemy had insta-death touch, or petrification, or damage poison effect, or a poison touch, those will be vanilla. We also have vanilla scripts on the fiends. So we always kind of make it fun of Lich being something of a known or a nothing burger refight, Lich 2 in Topher, but Lich 2 in vanilla has a 50-50 chance pretty much of nuking your face. So levels matter.
Oh, not 50-50, 75%.
Even better.
Yep.
Meklin checking the Asher chest and finding an Ice Shield +3. One of those fighters finally has a good piece of armor. We haven't seen any of our runners pick up any armor for sale. When you're in a shard hunt, you're basically in a loot the world mindset. So you're likely not going to spend money on items unless you get something like good gold bracelets or an affordable price, or want some pro rings.
Siberian Bull is cashing in that ruby, so we'll get to see both the incentive item that was put in Titan's Tunnel and the one on Sada.
Meanwhile, Meklin only a few steps away from the vampire fight, aka the blue splotch, although Meklin is running a color shift, so it looks like a whiz vamp, but is just a normal vampire. The many things, we see the custom sprite pack that Meklin's using. It's a D&D inspired pack. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull with the Mega Man pack. And wow, that is 3 shards and an incentive item. Titan's Tunnel, or Titan's Trove, proving to be valuable.
gonna get some good mileage out of that in Elite 3. Or at
Yeah.
least of that one cast of it. Unfortunate.
Yes. One thing to note with these X chests, they are gonna be trapped with enemies that are relative to the location of the box. So we see wolves in this pack. We could see some others like specters, tigers, normal things you'd have in the overworld in this immediate area. If we see chests in Cardia Isles, though, that is the Oxyale, that's access to sea once we have access to the skies. But if we go to Cardia Isles, those X chests are going to have dragon packs. So there's risks, but there can be rewards depending on where you're at and what levels you've got to work with.
And if you're in Nordies, sorcerers. Everyone's favorite.
So it's the Oxyale and 3 shards coming out of Titan's Trove. Only 1 left for Siberian pickup. Meanwhile, Meklin's got a shard out of the Earth Armory, but does not have the incentive item. So that's going to be a trip down to the 3 remaining chests at what we call Lich's bedroom. Like any other game with any other chest-rich locations, there are numbers, there are names, and Lich's bedroom tends to be used. Oh, wait, did I miss an incentive item pickup, or is Meklin forgetting that the incentive chest is down below? And hey, it's Jerkbirds, and petrifying his entire party is all on the table.
Oh, the starting 2 souths will not be enough for the full party. No, I don't really expect Meklin to use both of these fighters long term.
Meklin is not going to fight. Oh, Meklin is going after Lich. Maybe Meklin is thinking take down Lich and then go get the item? Yep, there we go. Images with stun touch, not making Meklin's life any easier. It's going to be eating into the potion resources, and as you said, there was only those 2 softs, and wait, Meklin's like, oh, wait, I need the item. And was that the slab from Sarda just now?
It sure was, so the ruby turning out to not give anything that will be relevant for now. It's all locked behind the floater.
Well, at this point, the canoe and or the floater, that is our progression chain. Or we can see the key or another turn-in item that can be get access here. Whatever this box contains, it is the progression that we've got to work with. Getting that slab, though, does give Siberian Bull the clear, or effectively the clear of the Melman continent, except the fact that, oh, it is the key. Key locks are now open to Meklin. Siberian needs to go to Crescent and get that rod and come back. So, which is going to be faster? For Meklin to get through here, fight Lich, and go get the ruby and come back? And clear what Siberian's cleared? Or for Siberian to go to Crescent, get the rod, and then clear Earth? That will be a good tell of who is truly in the lead at this point, at least for progression through the world and incentive item grabs. That is a vanilla warp. That is not learnable by any mage without promotion. That is kind of painful. Warp is an incredibly effective spell. Brings you back to your previous entrance. Which for the Pillar Maze and Ordeals is very, very handy.
Anyway, may I bring your attention to what Meklin just put up against Lich?
Was that a
so
quake?
ironic that the Fiend of Earth is not resistant to Quake.
Yeah, I mean, it is an undead being, and if you assume that the earthquake will cause massive bludgeoning damage by objects falling from around it, it would be effective. But yes, that is one of the many meme strats. We'll see Brack used on Kraken, occasionally used on Tia, Bane strats for Tia. Different fiends are slightly more likely to be killed by certain spells. We do have a look at Elflin. Level 3 magic had nuke, and level 4 magic got exit and heal 3. Elfland paying big. There's another sweeper with Fire 3.
And I notice a new recruit on siberianbull's side.
Is that a thief? Because that's not another red mage, and it just got a saber equipped, so...
Yes, I believe so. I'm not familiar with the meklin sprite set, but...
It is a slightly different, non-promoted character that can hold a saber. So the thief, the fighter, and the red mage would make that, and that's what we've got on screen.
True.
Process of elimination. We've seen Meklin raiding the Canary Castle, gonna get a shard and an item, as Siberian Bull making the loop around the bottom of the primary continent to Crescent. Now, what do you want to be in the box?
It depends. For fun, I would say the herb, which would turn into the crystal, etc. But if I were a runner, I would hope to see the canoe probably. Speaking of which...
There you go. That is the canoe. That gives the runners access to ordeals with the river dog. It also gives access to both volcano and ice. Now, with this flag set, our incentive locations do not include marsh or ice. So unless these runners are looking for some sort of grind tile or are very short on shards and just need 1 or 2 shards, it is highly unlikely we will see either location. Volcano, meanwhile, just like with Earth, is both cover. You have a 2-shard boss fight at the bottom, and you have an incentive item either in the Agama floor or Carries floor, so the last 2 floors in Volcano. So that plus pure quantity of chests, Volcano is basically the most likely place to go in my opinion. Would you go Volcano or would you go Ordeals?
Volcano, 100%. Because especially on a party where I'm not too confident with the ability to take on some of the scarier fights in Ordeals, especially the sorcerers, Volcano is just much faster. Then again, here one factor that's weighing in Ordeals' favor is the fact that we don't have Sweeper yet. Well, not Sweeper, Warp Magic. So actually, was it exit in here, White Mage Runnable? So yeah, in Meklin's case, that does weigh in favor of Volcano.
Yeah,
Because,
being able to exit out of a deep dungeon like Volcano, especially if you run low on pots, can make a huge difference. There is, unfortunately, recent memories of runners who have lost grinds or lost entire dives trying to run out, and just the last floor or even a few tiles before the exit just wiping.
Good old Sphinx.
Yeah. Meklin going to that top dock. Normally this is where you'd go to get access just to Ice Cave, but with the modifications to the map we have that passage there that links the upper and lower river systems, so easy access to Volcano. Meklin, our first runner to dive into the Fiend of Fire's dungeon, as Siberian Bull making their way to the Fiend of Earth. Not shocked to see going for... Ooh, there is a good sword. The Sun Sword +4, first weapon of beyond a saber.
Yeah, Sun +4. I know the extra is extremely likely to be found with the way the incentives are set up, but Sun +4 is always an endgame worthy weapon.
Yeah, the big thing is it's promotion. It's not promotion lock, so either of those fighters can immediately wield it. Same with the Fire +5. Those fighters now have proper damaging weapons if Meklin takes the chance to equip. Gonna see Meklin heal up. Whether or not they go for equip is to be seen. Siberian Bull, meanwhile, is actually checking the first floor rooms here in Earth, not finding a shard at the top or the bottom. This is bottom left. What do we have in bottom right? Nope, no shards whatsoever. Gets a Zeus Bonk. That's a free caster item for Lit 2.
There's some value. I see that Meklin probably on purpose stepped on the trap tile on the way into the armory. That's a pretty easy way to check this tile. And
That
it
was
ended
the
up
X chest. Oh, and that's the rune +4. You got the sun sword and the rune sword. I mean,
yeah,
the
at this
fire
point,
sword +4. It's just
yeah, at this point with that equipment, I would definitely consider fighting carry on the way out instead of just taking the walk.
more just dodging the blaze sharks that are just annihilating the party.
Oof.
Yeah, Meklin resets out of that, has lost 2 party members, stun plus blaze. Siberian Bull, not the only one to run into that.
Yeah, uh, and with the white mage was still up, but doesn't know any life spell yet. So yeah, reset is pretty much the one thing to do in that case. And
Big
probably,
disadvantage of not having the thief is the less likely to get the first strike in these encounters.
and not bothering to check what was behind that tile. Definitely the right play.
Indeed. Oof, oof, ooh, a loose opal bracelet +3. Doesn't have any elemental bonuses like the opal armor, but it is universally equipable. So any of those mages will have excellent armor if they so get if it so gets placed on them.
Oh yeah, that's the same absorb as the steel armor or the fire and ice armor, which are some of the best for the fighters and the best in class for many classes.
Yep. The elemental armors are just like the general swords equipable by the fighter. They are promotion equipable by the ninja, so that ice shield and an ice armor or fire armor could go on the promoted thief for Siberian Bull. But for the moment, Meklin just happy to have a good amount of good gear to equip on the party as is, without having had to stop and buy anything other than those initial sabers. And oh, specters stoning the heck or stunning the heck out of Siberian's party. This is not something we saw Meklin have to deal with, I don't believe, and it's hurting. That Zeus Bonk doing its job though.
I just love how the close to death sprite for this Mega Man sprite sheet is sliding.
Yeah, we saw stun is just sliding. We saw petrified is sliding, but made of stone. What you can do with proper pixel art and the tools in this game is incredible. You know, a lot of really creative members of the community who create these sprite sheets and make them available, and all you have to do is select the sprite sheet or upload the sprite sheet when you get your ROM generated, and boom. Hopefully we'll see some steak and wings sprites. Meklin on through the Agama floor is starting to raid the possible locations for the incentive item, gets a stone. There we go, Meklin realizing, wait a second, I have swords. Give me a sun sword. Wait, Meklin, why? Why you give a short swords? Oh. Okay, Meklin isn't sorting right. I mean, you have a dragon sword, a sun sword, and a rune sword, and you gave it a short sword. Does not compute.
Maybe Meklin is just focusing on the carry fight that might be in the near future, and because of that, focusing on the rune sword that will do a number on her.
Fair enough. Having the sword, the elemental buff against the specific enemy that is weak to it can make a huge difference. That's what makes the X-Cal so incredible. It has every elemental bonus all at once. However, it is night wield only, and oh, there is an incentive defense sword. That is evasion.
But in the meantime, Siberian Bull opened a chat box in Earth looking for the incentive and got greeted by a bunch of cockatrices. Got the whole party petrified. That's a wipe.
I do believe that is 2, maybe 3 wipes for Siberian Bull, plus the Yeah, Siberian Bull immediately gets that Zeus bonk that's nearly saved the dive before. We're gonna have to re-dive again. This is looking more and more in Meklin's favor. I do believe Meklin is the lead in this run, or in this best 2 out of 3. So if Meklin wins, that will be Meklin moving on to the upper brackets and Siberian going down to the lower brackets. Great thing about the bracket system, you're not down and out with 1 loss.
Indeed. What has been set up for this winter tournament is last chance qualifier bracket. Well, not really a bracket anymore, but in place of a lower bracket. So every round there will be one async race between both runners that were remaining from the previous last chance race and the runners that got knocked down from the upper bracket. And for instance, after the round of 32, they will have an async race where the top 8 will move on to the next round. Is it 8? Yes, I think it's 8. And all the way until the round of 8 in the full bracket, where the top 4 will have their own half of the overall bracket, and they will meet back at the finals, if I recall correctly.
I honestly do not know the ins and outs of the brackets as much as I should, but there's definitely much to read in. We saw Meklin shift the parties around, has the defense sword and the sun sword, I believe, on that first fighter and the rune sword on the bottom. So used some evasion stacks on the defense sword, got some swings in, took care of carry. That's a second orb lit. That is 2 and 2. So 14 shards, I believe, for Meklin, and a 50% bonus to experiencing gold gain per fight per orb lit or per 8 shards, giving Meklin a substantial advantage on progression going forwards. Now we know that Meklin can go and get the Oxy Ale from where he's at, but at this point, Ordeals would be the next play, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that is, with our current knowledge, the one place that will be the bottleneck in terms of progression at this point, since Volcano's defense sword, while it's an excellent item, especially for boss fights, is a dud in terms of progression. And so
there is our life magic. Crescent level 6 and temper. Kinda oof that.
Thankfully, those are both slots that are learnable before promotion if you're not a red mage.
Meklin off the Undercontinent, going north. Where is north from here? The Matoya dock to get back to Crescent? Or Canaria, I should say? Or because we don't have the northern docks enabled.
Going straight to Provoke?
Must be looking for some heal pots or other equipment or other kit.
Probably.
Oh, wait. Meklin didn't go back to get the ruby yet.
Oh,
so Meklin
of course.
Still has to do the rest of the Melman continent, but with a 2 dungeon complete lead at this point, clearing Titans and clearing Sarda, it's gonna be pretty dang straightforward. Siberian Bull getting the key, just has to get the heck out of there, whether he does it through Lich or not. Only 6 shards, so 1 row versus 2 and a bit for Meklin. This is a pretty substantial lead. Siberian Bull pulling up on Lich. Gonna go swing, gonna go swing, gonna go Zeus Bonk and Nuke. Only has a short sword, but only has a short sword. You gotta remember, hurts undead is on those fighters. So those fighters doing 300 plus damage. The Nuke clears it up. Lich did not stand a chance. There is a orb lit and 2 more shards for Siberian Bull. The entirety of the Melman continent is dealt with. Siberian Bull can move on from here. Head towards the canoe pickup and volcano. As Meklin is into Titans, gonna pick up the slab, if I recall correctly, or was this the... Let me look at our notes. Thank you to Wildham, our tracker. The Oxyale. Okay. So it'll be the Oxyale here for Meklin, and then the slab from Sarda as Siberian Bull about to get the canoe. Now Meklin, once he clears up all these shards that are going to be here, that's going to be dang near 3 lines worth of shards. So nearly 3/4 the way through the requirement. As the key, we just need to get the loot. Doesn't need to get to any other dungeons at this point as long as they can get the shards and the loot.
Though, to be fair, the loot will be in one of those dungeons, or at least require to go to some of them to get some fetch quest item that will lead to them.
Yeah, that is very true. We have a shockingly large number of fetch quests open still. We've got the we've got the herb to get, the crown, the adamant. You usually want to get those out of the way early because you can just get through very fast through the inner sea. Oh, and the crystal. So that's 4. No, oh wait, Oxyale, the bottle we could end up picking up, but that'd be even locked behind the floater. And we have the slab in hand, but still need the floater. So
right, we're so used to having a bunch of these trade-ins be some of the first things you do in the seed, but this time the start was kind of straight to the point.
yeah. There's Meklin translating the slab. Siberian, meanwhile, going into dwarves, gonna check what the key locked have. Already has given the TNT to the dwarf who blew himself up to make the canal. I mean, that's the only reason why he disappeared. Everyone knows he actually had to specially use that TNT.
Meanwhile, Meklin is heading straight to audience, I see.
Yep.
Say hi to those good old sorcerers.
Yep, sorcerers and a series of undead packs. Gonna possibly see the zombie bulls and zombie dragons. Of course, we have randomized trap tiles. These are B-side trap tiles. So we'll see some packs that would not normally be there. We could find something like 3 Agamas or eyes, and oh my word, it was a super skip. Meklin just bypassed every single split room by taking pillar 1 in the 4-pillar maze. That is insane.
Speaking of which, did you see what Siberian Bull just picked up out of the Dwarves Armory?
Unfortunately, I missed the Masa. Wow, that is the best straight-up sword in the game. The X-Cal is great, but the Masa can be swinged by anyone. Meklin did pick up a Vorpal +4, but it sure as heck doesn't match a Masa. It just makes for really good lawn darts.
The window hungers. So, Dwarf Armory is one of these places that is not checked that often in races. Maybe sometimes if you're kind of short on shards at the end and don't want to before diving another dungeon. So it's very likely that Meklin is not finding that, so that's a bit of an advantage for Siberian Bull.
I mean, it could be a weird proximity play. Meklin getting the crown out of Ordeals, which is exactly where Siberian Bull is going. We're going to see some high-fiving here. If Meklin gets the Adamant from the crown turn in and proximity plays into Dwarves, Meklin may just go, you know, I'm here, I'll check it. But you are quite right. Plus, just have to note, Meklin has 18 shards, so Meklin only needs 6 shards and the loot.
And I see from the dialogue that this Astos has the floater, so that's the end of this little chain.
Finally, access to everywhere.
And usually that makes the seed extremely non-linear at this point, but here, aside from the dungeons, the only checks are Cardia and turning in that slab at Lefane.
Yep. Does give access to Gaia, gives access to the on-rack continent, so C is now on the table. Meklin has a very short run to get those shards. But gonna check Cardia. There is an incentive item here in one of these 3 islands, as well as shard options available. Eliminates one of the walking lizards. Technically they are dragons, but I mean, you don't fight them normally, so I just don't care. That is a flag we have enabled where you can end up fighting these dragons, either the Hall of Dragons or Bahamut's horde with guards, so you have to fight his flanking dragons as dragon packs. Or of course these trap treasure chests with fire. Nope, those are white dragons evidently. With trance and other wipes or sweepers. That's a chest that Meklin doesn't want to have to deal with.
What are the odds that this is the loot?
Enough that Meklin tried it again, reset, and wants to cycle that RNG. Ice armor plus 5 to go with that ice armor or ice shield, and a white shirt. The white shirt has the ability to cast Invis 2, which provides an evasion stack for all of the party members. Incredibly valuable, even if it's not used as promoted armor. The black shirt, meanwhile, could cast Ice 2 and has the... Nope, you're not promoted, Meklin. You can't equip those just yet. Does get the ice armor equipped. Has the pretty solid gear stack. And here we go. Meklin gonna try it again. Doesn't get ambushed by the dragons, who then effectively try and trance the party, but it has no effect. Gets the nuke out. These white dragons can take a good amount of punishment. 140 off those low roll nukes was not enough to kill them. Fade comes out though, cleans it up along with the sword swings of Meklin, gets the item, gets a huge chunk of experience, and gets the herb. So that's another turn-in item to chase down, as Siberian Bull gets their floater. We did notice this when Meklin got the floater. Siberian Bull will do it. We have Skyboat enabled, which means once you have the floater in the ship, you just get in the ship, press a button, and boom, you're up in the air. You don't have to go to the Ryokan Desert and hop the airship out of the desert the normal way. And tail, so Meklin can probably go straight back to Canary Isles, talk to Bahamut, and upgrade his party.
Of course, the promotion was locked behind the Guardia check.
Yeah. It's very fun when we had the Bahamut's Horde enabled, which creates a horde of chests behind Bahamut with linked chests for everything in the Cardia Isles, and the incentive chest normally is directly behind Bahamut, and you just go there and the tail is in the Cardia Isle chest right behind Bahamut. It's like, so we had to be the ones that were brave enough to go into the Dragon's Den and raid his treasures right behind him, and then just give him his treasure. And that's how ballsy we needed to be to promote. We didn't have to go through ordeals or anything. But there's the promotion. That's the black shirt being able to be equipped for armor. That's the white shirt. And that also frees up that opal bracelet that Meklin could put on the fighter that doesn't have the iron armor, but looks like not gonna, or the ice armor, but not going that way. Meklin does have access to the slab, so gonna go ahead and do that check and turn in. If this is the cube, I'd see Meklin going straight into sky. If not, you kind of have to assume Meklin's going to go to the Onrak continent. You've got the Oxyale, you can chalk to the robot and get the item there.
Either way, killing one of the 2 remaining fiends will just put Meklin 2 shots away from getting into Tofa, which is a pretty trivial amount to get, so it's really just all about finding that loot at this point.
Meklin taking advantage here of the Lefanian Superstore. All of the magic in the map, except for the stuff that appears at Gaia, is here in these shops. And since Meklin has already promoted, all the spells that could be learned by these Black Knights and by the white and black wizards are now available. That was also the Power Bonk in Lefane. I don't think Meklin had the spot in the inventory for the Power Bonk and may have just left it.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, these Black Knights will have Saber. And they also have Fast, which is an excellent safety against that nasty slow 2 that's pretty early in Chaos Script with vanilla scripts.
This is very, very true.
We've seen so many Tofa dives already be ended by that one spell. Because if you have no way to get fast on a character that's hit by it, that character will only ever do 1 hit at a time for the rest of the fight, which, given that Cure 4 is somewhere on Chaos Script, means you're pretty much dead.
Yep. It is often to see a party that just stacks evasion, stacks Cure 4 to bring back or to undo effects, and waits out the script, because if you can survive Chaos swinging and casting until it's cast Cure 4, you can usually do enough damage before that script rolls around. There are 7 spells in the script and it runs through them one after the other. There's also the 4 elemental abilities or skills that can be used. It's either punch, it's cast, or it's skill.
Those skills that it took me way too long to figure out that they are a reference to the 4 fiends in the order they are normally fought.
You just blew my mind because I never even put any thought to it, but it makes total sense.
Teehee.
There's the adamant, so that's another churn-in item, very deep. Has access to exit though, doesn't have to run it all the way back out, but Meklin, absolutely no reason to go back to dwarves just yet. Gonna take the on-rack dive as we see Siberian Bull finally in Volcano, making their way down to the Agama floor, gonna pick up the Volcano item and move on.
I see someone in chat saying that this is the first time they've seen retargeting. That's a pretty recent addition to the rando. That's something that was met with a bit of fear from veterans as something that would kind of break the game and change a mechanic that's pretty key to the way you approach fighting in the vanilla game. But it turns out that since in rando you are much less dependent on your melee attacks compared to the base game, where your mages had a pretty meager selection of spells. Here it's really more of a convenience than a game breaker.
It is a so welcomed life improvement, one of many that our randomizer crew has been implementing. We did see a Carbonation of Bubbles guarding a shard for Meklin. We also saw a Rue Stick coming out of Mermaids. So that's good value. Meklin only needs 1 more shard and then a kill on Kraken, and they will be in full go mode. Of course, let's find the loot. Hopefully the loot will be in this chest, and that would put them in go. Nope. Is effectively in loot and go mode, though. a number of improvements that we've seen with the randomizer just to make this game so much faster. You see how much faster the menuing is going than vanilla. Also note that the runners are moving at running speed. They're actually moving faster on the open world, and the boat itself moves as fast as the airship. Meklin doing extra effort carbonating some mermaids. The Bubble Soda Co. very much appreciates their contributions. One of our many groups in the randomizer community, different teams that compete in our fall tournament.
I will personally say that I don't mind the face of the vanilla game on the rando community, because everyone was designed to be a 10 or 20 hour RPG. It's pretty easy to lose sight of that when you've done so many races on that are on about 1 hour pace.
You know, I totally get it, but I will very much enjoy Speedboat. And I was wrong, Meklin did have room for the power bonk, so that is a power bonk equipped as armor and a castable item. Meklin also not finding the incentive item there. The incentive location in C is locked. So with the mermaid prison flag enabled, locking every room on the mermaid's floor, as well as the TFC chest, which is in this crescent-shaped room here on mermaid's side. We call it TFC because it's that frickin' chest. In the vanilla game,
that fabulous chest.
That chest of things that is locked behind the key, that in the vanilla game you have to have by this point in the game. It is the only door outside of Topher that is locked. And there's the crystal. There's another turn-in item. So we're just getting all those items so we can get early, late. You know, I just expect Meklin to leave. Yep, 2 shards away. It's not worth going all the way crack inside to get the 4 shards. Okay, 3 shards away. A few checks at the lock chest locations could get enough shards for Meklin at this point. We see 2 fighters down, a thief red mage taking out Carrie. That's a second orblet, that's 2 more shards. There's the X-Cal.
Is this
hello.
even randomized?
I mean, at least Meklin didn't go down and get the Masa that's down there. The dwarves having some pretty sweet gear. Gonna see what the crystal's got. That is Sky. Access to the item in Sky, which could well be our loot, and is also very chest dense. So Meklin likely gonna straight north and east, hit the desert, and go into the Sky Palace. Has a Vorpal. May see Meklin drop the Vorpal off or either through the skylight on Sky 3 or off the Bridge of Destiny on Sky 5.
Anyway, we've pointed out so much good gear that Meklin has found out, as well as myself for Siberian Bull. But one thing we crucially haven't found yet: a ribbon.
That is a good point. None of the 3 ribbons in the game are in the incentive pool, and at this point, Meklin is likely not going to be checking boxes that do not have an X. In fact, Meklin's skipping all of Mirage Tower. That is a lot of chests to skip. Going straight into Sky to get the incentive item, get the shards, and maybe fight a War Mech or a Tia. We do have Wandering War Mech on, so there will be a NPC encounterable War Mech on the Sky Maze on Sky 4. It's worth a lot of experience, but just like the Vanilla Fiends, it is vanilla, so it is a very nuclear-equipped stompy death machine. You know, I have to enjoy the strange mixture of Zelda music and Final Fantasy music of different generations that Meklin's got going on.
Looking back on the spell list, it looks like the only also form of life magic that is in this party is the level 6 spells on the white mage, so without any ribbons, that will be the one big vulnerable point in the party.
Yeah, the only
And just
alternative to ribbons is just all the gear and or the cast of the spell wall, which we haven't even seen yet.
I think we... Actually, let me double check. No, indeed, it is in some magic shop that is not... that has not been visited yet.
Siberian Bull getting that ice armor and the herb out of the Cardia Isles, as Meklin getting some levels on a fight for a shard. Only needs, I believe, one more shard. It's either one or two more shards to go. Of course, we know Siberian Bull. Wow, Siberian Bull shard-wise only needs 3 shards left, so the shard level number or the shard counts aren't that dissimilar. But Meklin definitely has an advantage with levels on the party and gear with the earlier exploration. And there's the dragon armor, another absurdly good piece of kit.
Especially when you don't have that ribbon, as I mentioned.
Yep. Both the opal armor and the dragon armor, armors that are exclusive to the promoted knight class, have elemental protections that you would otherwise want to have that ribbon for. You can theoretically kit up with a pro ring, a dragon armor, an elemental shield, or the Aegis shield, and have those protections a ribbon could provide, but a ribbon covers basically everything short of insta-death, which is what the pro ring's for. This Sky 2 is not paying off all that much other than that dragon armor.
One underrated aspect of that dragon armor in this specific flag set with the vanilla script is that fire resistance can be pretty nice in Topher, especially for the Chaos fight, since the second skill on the Chaos script, Inferno, we're used to not being too scared of it because it's an elemental spell, but if you don't resist it, it's almost the same power as Nuke.
Yep, and there's a ribbon! Meklin actually checking so many non-X chests here in Sky does find a ribbon in CC's Gambit, the 4-pack at the top of Sky 3. Siberian Bull got that herb, turned it in, got the tail, gonna go ahead and get the promotion done. Meklin is for sure 1 shard shy. Gets an opal shield, so that is good protection. That's lightning, I believe, elemental.
Yes, in addition to just straight up being tied with Aegis for the strongest absorb on the shield.
Team Edward, aka Wiz Vamps, going down to Nuke from Meklin.
So I remember pointing out earlier in the seed that 2 fighters is usually pretty bad in a rando due to how redundant the second one. But here, with just the sheer amount of good gear that has been found, that second fighter is a bit of a powerhouse. Of course, for these endgame fights where you usually just want to focus on buffing one of your melees to the moon with the fast and temper and all that, that will not be... The second fighter does end up being a bit irrelevant to those fights, but still, that's a pretty tanky party member that will be able to contribute with some item uses and stuff.
Yep, you've got 2 melee melee party members, each of which has either a defense sword or a ruse stick. You've got the white shirt as well. You've got top tier armor on every piece or every body part, and you've got endgame swords across the board. So the double fighter is definitely not holding back this run, or at least does not seem to be. Meklin full clearing Sky decides, nope, I'm not gonna fight Tia, or oh, just gonna go ahead and check for a single S chest in Mirage. Yep, one more shard right here, and that will be Meklin. Really just needs to track down the loot. At this point, that bottle may well be it. Ah, there's another ribbon. One was in Waterfall, evidently.
Yeah, I'm pretty used to skipping those chests because they can just feel like a waste of time when they have no chance of being an incentive. But here, it paid off.
Okay, here is our bottle check. Will it be the instrument that's a little waterlogged, but otherwise useful? I remember as a kid, I always thought a lute was a woodwind instrument, not a string instrument, and was like, I guess I was just playing too much Zelda. A limerick. That is the lute in the case of Meklin, so that is full go mode. Going into the hour mark thereabouts, gonna hit Topher is not a bad time given these flags.
Very solid, yes.
But this is also Topher, which is the great equalizer, so will Meklin make it through? Geared to the 9s, but not super over-leveled. And of course, if we didn't mention it, we have Map Derp. We have our good old googly eyes on Toph. One of the greatest additions to the randomizer, coming out of, I believe, the fall tournament, or was the Lefanian Ladder this last year. Another one of our recently added, as far as of a year or so, mid-Topher. You'll notice that all of the floors in Topher have been cut except for the Fiend floors and the first floor, obviously. And the floors have been shortcutted, so you don't have to run all the way around the outside of Lich's floor. You can just go straight to Lich, who ate a nuke before it could nuke the party. Meklin making fast work of Lich onto Carry 2, or Kelly, as the fun theme name flag's going. And hey, there's that fire elemental damage you were talking about. Fire 3, not well, the skill, but still. That is Carry down. This Toph dive going quite well for Meklin so far, but Kraken and Tia 2 are disproportionately powerful compared to even Carry 2. Just for how much more damage they can absorb and how much more damage they can dish out. Kraken has 8 arms. Those 8 arms each have their own hits, so if Kraken goes swinging, Kraken can one-shot a even well-leveled party member. For whatever reason, white mages seem to be Kraken's preferential target. No matter where they are in the party, if they exist, Kraken will go after them. It's not in the code. Our devs have checked, but you will see it happens. We see Fog 2, that helps with Absorb. Invis 2 would increase evasion, whereas Fog 2 increases absorb, so if punches come through, that will supplement for the armor stacks. We see an Excal swing 4 hits, we see Lock coming out to reduce the evasiveness of Kraken. Not getting much damage off the second swing. Kraken hits, but does not do a lot of damage. The armor plus the Fog 2 doing its job. 4 hits or 4 swings for 4 damage. Fade rolls low 106. Kraken cracks back for about the same. Nuke rolls high with a 290. That Excal doing a lot of damage, outperforming the nuke. Here comes another nuke. 380 gets the job done, and Meklin is on to the Tia floor. The only unmodified floor other than Chaos's in this mid-Topher selection, simply because, well, It's the smaller 2 floors. Into Tia we go. We get a red angry Tia this time around. 2 hits, 170, not much. Good damage coming out from Tia. Fog 2 coming out to try and stack up the absorb. We know that Tia doesn't have nuke, so being above 400 isn't super critical, but you want more health than not. Swings comes out from the second fighter, gets 361. That second knight actually getting good damage done. Nuke enough to finish it. Tia 2 actually going down way easier than Kraken did. The Siberian Bull heads onto the mermaid floor in hunt of shards. Meklin is in Topher, in Chaos's floor. Shifting gears, gonna switch out the X-Cal. Nope, gonna go with the Vorpal for crit and stick with the X-Cal on the first. So first knight has the X-Cal, second knight has the Vorpal. Second knight moved into slot 3, so pretty much looking to stack the damage on that, or the damage buffs on that fighter or the knight in slot 3 to get the most chance for crit to just finish off Chaos as soon as possible. You see the defense sword being used, that increases evade. Oh ho ho! That Vorpal equipped knight goes down, but we do have life 2. Yep, there it is. Inferno comes out. The Black Mage at 2 health. Lock coming out on onto Chaos's life 2 brings up that the knight at full health. Gonna go with Temper, gonna go with Power Bonk, doesn't want to deal with Evade, gonna Cure 4, doesn't come out until after the Ice 3 unfortunately, so it's a wasted charge. But the evasion stacks are capped for that top knight. Gonna go with Swing, gonna go with more Power Bonk, and looks like Life 2 to try and bring up that knight, or the Black Mage wants the nukes, wants the tempers, wants the fast, and there goes your Life Caster. Meklin gonna be stuck with the 3-man, did get the Life 2 out, gonna go with Temper, gonna go swing, try and get the damage done before the Cure can roll around. There's Swirl doing solid damage. These sword swings are not getting the job done though. Gonna go with Lock to cut down evasion, try and keep Chaos from dodging the swords. 4 hits, 131, Vorpal 5 hits, 608. That criticality doing its job. If 1 hit crits, all hits crits. There's 7 for 628, another crit going through. That is what the Vorpal's good for. The slow 2 did not land. Another swing coming out, 7 hits, 628. This Chaos is not long for this world. Oh, wait, Cure 4. Chaos 100% healed. That is not what Meklin wanted to see, but unlike before, 6 hits, 700 plus, this is a fully functioning Vorpal equipped knight. It will chunk down damage before Chaos can roll through. 7 hits for 913. This Chaos is definitely getting chunked down faster than it's doing damage. 7 for 920. All the stacks doing all the work. The heal pot's coming out from the top knight before it goes down to Ice 3, but the kill is in. GG's in chat for Meklin, winning the race with a race time GG time of 1 hour, 6 minutes, 29 seconds, and going on to the brackets round of 32.
Yeah, that first knight's high durability made it surprisingly good as a support party member.
Truly so, and let's see if we can get our winner into the booth. We are joined by Meklin. GG's.
Oh, that was something.
Yeah. Very well done. Crazy linear early start, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I last located the progression because Ordeals just sucks in these flag sets, so Sorcerers with vanilla death touch, it's not fun. But I don't think I actually even seen Sorcerers when I climbed Ordeals, so but yeah,
what did you think of that super short Ordeals, by the way?
I was shocked. I was like saying in my head, alright, it went up, alright, 1. And then I was like, I'm through? What? Huh? What? Huh? How did I miss everything?
Yep, these super short ordeals does exist, and we are joined in the booth by our runner-up on stream, Siberian Bull. GG's. The forfeit, understandable, but how'd you find the sharks?
Hot and bothered, and then getting stoned by the cockatrice down in Earth didn't help either.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
those
yeah,
two, those things. It was in the shard box that did it, but those two things set me behind. But aside from that, I thought I did okay. But as soon as I saw that Q was on, as soon as he does like, all right, well, let's see if Cube's on Matoya, or I'm sorry, if Loot was on Matoya, and then I saw this Q, I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to waste everyone's time.
Yeah, that progression for that loot was terrible. Being so far deep, buried behind everything, like literally full cleared the game.
Yeah. That's probably another like 10 minutes if I decided to dive into that. But it's like, nope, I'm not gonna waste these lovely people's time. We're just gonna be done and over with it.
Yeah, I hear you.
One thing that kind of struck me was the different approaches to the party, because two fighters, sure, they are quite powerful against bosses, but that gives you very little space for some utility characters. So, Meklin, when you saw that there was a white mage in Koneria Tavern, I think it was, you decided to reroll to go.
Yeah. I started with white mage because of the improved HP, but I saw black mage was in the shop, so I was like, yep, reset instantly. I want one of each. I don't want to deal with having to worry about spellcast and like having to hunt down the other mage. I mean, it could end up being in Gaia somewhere, and at that point, like, I feel super behind not having all that extra spellcasting and utility. So yeah, that was a instant. I wasn't even second guessing it.
Yeah, I decided I was just gonna go. I was gonna go with the strategy of smash everything hard, but it is what it is. What I definitely would have liked to have had that exit for a little escape purposes, but that's about it.
I actually didn't have exit until I think I was in the air.
We were both in the air by that point, but I think it was in. I don't remember what it was. It was
Yeah,
one.
it was
It
level 4.
It was one of the mid levels.
Yeah, and I think it was
one of those spells
Elfun?
that will often be skipped for a while, because level 4 is such a walk from the entrance of the town. You often don't want to double dip those traps. So yeah, I understand not checking that for a while.
I didn't check Elfun until I did the loop of the Outer Sea, and then I was like, oh yeah, I should probably get spells from Elfun at some point. I think I had to go back. Oh, we got the herb out of Ordeals or something, or Cardia?
Yeah, it was Cardia. And
Okay.
then anyway, it was not fun.
No.
Nothing about
Certainly
this seed.
wasn't.
Nothing about the seed was fun. Even though there was some striking similarities to our seed last night at the beginning. There, it's just that this seed, unlike last night, was not fun.
Yeah. Last night was that was okay. I don't think there was anything terrible with the spell scripts or anything like that with the enemies. It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The
main thing in this one was definitely the stones.
Yeah. I got it was I think it was the herb chest that was in Cardia that had, I don't know if they were ambushing, but they kept going first, and they kept casting trance on my party. It was the white D's, I think, and like it just kept rolling around, so I just kept resetting until I got first turn.
Yeah, we saw that. It was
That
like,
was
is he gonna pass on it and come back if it's not the incentive chest, or is he gonna go? Okay.
No, I was gonna brute force that chest. I was absolutely.
You weren't the only one who did that. Siberian, I believe you repeatedly took the fight against Garland until you can get the insta kill.
Oh, I did that too.
Or was that... Oh, that was Meklin. Okay.
No, I definitely smashed his face down.
I was gonna say I used my Quake and one of my Harm 2 charges on that shard chest in the top left, and then I only had the one rub charge left, the one Quake rub, and I used rub because I couldn't remember if Quake or rub had a better accuracy for insta kill. So I just used rub because I figured it was probably the better of the two, being a single target. And I think I reset like 3 or 4 times trying to get through that too.
Well, GG's, you progress, I believe, to the round of 32. Siberian, you will be down facing the elimination matches, but there is very much precedent for losing early and winning it out. So, very much looking forward to see those matches.
Yeah, my goal is just to get 1 win. That's all I want.
A very obtainable goal. Let's go ahead and move on to our final thoughts, starting with our winner of the match going on, Meklin.
GG's to Siberian Bull. Great matchup. And then I just want to say thanks to all the crew for coming out tonight. Fallison, Thieving Hawk putting on comms, and Wildhand for coming in last minute to help with the tracking. Plus, thank you Speed Gaming for allowing us to host on here. Also, Fallison, please go easy on me.
Right, I thought it would feel awkward to bring it up myself that you're coming up against me next in the bracket. But yeah, looking forward to the match, not taking you for granted.
Yeah, it'll be a fun race. I'm excited for it.
Yep, the upside is you don't have to be done until next week, so you get it done early.
Right.
But yeah, GG's to you, Meklin. It definitely seemed like we could have been closer than it was, but you know, it is what it is. You made better choices than I did. Great races overall. Thanks to you guys in the booth for doing the commentary, and Speed Gaming for hosting our race for this tournament, and to the guys in the background pressing all the buttons, making sure we're all looking good.
Speaking up, my co-coms, Fellison, final thoughts on this race?
I really don't have much to say that hasn't been mentioned already, so thanks for everyone that's putting on the tournament, and looking forward to more races of this.
Very much more to look forward to with the winter tournament going on. There's links in the in the chat here for both the brackets as well as the link to the Discord. If you like what you saw today, check out fantasyrandomizer.com. Here you will find the randomizer itself. All you need is the NTSC ROM, and you will be able to generate and join whatever fun shenanigans you can think of with that randomizer. You can go in the Discord, you can talk with all of us community members. We're interested in all sorts of things, not just Final Fantasy, but if you are interested in the randomizer, after this event, we will be having the Duckling Boot Camp. Basically, it is a training series where new runners in the community can join up, experience different seeds, different flag combinations with training from experienced runners in the community, leading on to a tournament specifically for the Ducklings, the Duckling Derby. A lot of fun, definitely recommend. Ending it up for the day though, thank you once again to Speed Gaming for hosting this event, this run today, and all those to come. Thank you to my co-coms Fellison, our restreamer Wildham. I have been Thieving Hawk. Y'all have an excellent